150 years ago this year, Western Pennsylvania was the birthplace of the oil industry. And a couple of decades later, Obadiah and Michael Haymaker struck natural gas in Murraysville, creating the natural gas industry. What many of us may not realize is that our region is still a natural gas producer and may be poised for a real renaissance. The opportunity lies in the Marcellus Shale underneath the Appalachian Mountains. Murry Gerber is back with us. He's chairman and CEO of EQT, one of the nation's largest natural gas producers. And welcome back. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Bill.
Yeah, when last you were here a few weeks ago, we were touched upon the Marcellus Shale, and there's been some buzz about it, but I do wonder if people really understand what this opportunity represents for our region and for Pennsylvania.
Well, Bill, it's probably the most important thing that's happened since Haymaker drilled those wells 130 years ago or so, which incidentally, that well was an EQT well. So we were the first ones to drill a commercial a gas well in the United States, actually in the world, really. But anyhow, this region grew up on the back of cheap energy and cheap resources, coal, natural gas, that fueled the steel industry and the great industrial growth here over the last 100 years. But then those fields declined for various reasons. And so we lost that edge. Now it looks like we're going to get it back with the Marcellus Shale and the Huron Shale and the vast resource in the shale gas throughout the Appalachian region.
Yeah, and I thought it had all been tapped out 100 years ago and it had kind of gone away. So why was this left behind?
That's a great question. Without getting into all the technical details, the technically easy gas and oil to extract was done. And this was mostly in what were called sandstones, where the pore spaces were large and the oil just flowed very easily out of those rocks. These shales are not so porous and not so permeable, and so while we always knew there was gas and oil in these rocks, the technology had to be developed to extract it better. And that came through horizontal drilling. So rather than drilling straight through the rocks, we drill down and then out. And then we fracture those rocks hydraulically. And the combination of the horizontal drilling and the fracturing allows there to be generated enough pore space for that gas to come out. And now all of a sudden that resource we thought was just going to sit there forever is now providing natural gas to the surface, and then we can use it. Relatively
new here in Pennsylvania, but you've been doing this for some time already elsewhere, right?
We have. We've been drilling in Appalachia for a long, long time, as I mentioned, and had over 4,500 wells in the shales over the years. However, we drilled them vertically. And we got a little bit of gas from them, but over the last few years we've perfected some technology called air drilling horizontal, where we drill with air. It's a new thing. It's a unique EQT thing. Others are now doing it, but that allowed our Huron Shale to be very prolific, and now we're drilling horizontally in the Marcellus also, along with a number of other people.
And the horizontal business, why is that so significant? What's the disadvantage of vertical drilling?
It's pretty much the more area of the rock that can be accessed with the hole that you drill, the more productive the well. So with a vertical well, you drill through 50 feet of shale, you get this little 8-inch hole. With horizontal drilling, you can drill 3,000 or 4,000 feet into the shale, and that gives you a lot more access to the shale surface area, so that more of that gas can come in. So that's the elegance of horizontal.
Okay. You already have significant reserves in the Marcellus Shale area?
We do. We have as much as 9 trillion cubic feet, and the whole Pennsylvania region could have as much as 500. And just to put that in perspective, Pennsylvania uses about 3/4 of a trillion cubic feet of gas a year, so potentially under this Appalachian Mountains we have 100 or 200 years of Pennsylvania production potentially. And as I mentioned, Pennsylvania imports now 3/4 of its natural gas. In a few years we're going to be exporting natural gas, so we're going to be an energy exporting state, which we haven't been in a very long period of time.
The other piece of that, though, will it make it easier maybe to attract investment that wants to use that gas rather than just sending it someplace else?
Wonderful question. Methane, which is the primary molecule we produce, is an excellent energy source. You can burn it for industrial purposes or in your house, as many of us do. But it's also a great feedstock molecule. What you can do is build other more complex molecules out of methane: plastics, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, fertilizers, et cetera, et cetera. Now that we have this resource here, we should be able to attract those businesses back. Many of those businesses that use methane as a feedstock have gone to other sources of the production overseas. Algeria, Nigeria, other places like that. Now we should be able to bring those industries back to Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania.
And just a few seconds left, but I wonder, what's it really going to take to unlock and realize the potential that we have here in Pennsylvania?
I think we're well on the way. The technology's there. We've got to build a little bit more infrastructure. It looks like the state's being very cooperative in advancing the drilling and a lot of permitting issues, et cetera, et cetera. But we should be able to unlock it, and now we just need to attract those businesses here.
Well, it's exciting.
To be able to use it. Yeah, it's great.
All right. Murry Gerber from EQT, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
And we'll be back in a minute with a little bit more of our region's business. Stay with us.